Before we start the video, make sure to subscribe to my channel, because if we can reach 20,000 subscribers before the end of 2018, I will be getting a tattoo of the official Linksol123 logo. It will be sick and it will be done if we can reach 20,000 subscribers before the end of 2018. Help, guys and girls, click the subscribe button now. Hey guys and girls, I'm Linksol123 and welcome to today's video where we are going to talk about the top 5 greatest Legend of Zelda soundtracks ever. Remember, this is my personal opinion, but it doesn't matter because I'm more than curious to read your guys and girls top 5 soundtracks from the Zelda franchise down below. So make sure to write it in the comment section. I can't wait to read all of your top 5s and also be replying to every comment that I get on this video, so do that right now. Before we start, I will just describe how we will do this. We got a top 5 here and I can't wait to show all of the games here. I will be describing each genre for each game and give you guys and girls some honorable mentions, like my favorite song from the specific game and such like that. So let's just jump straight into it and see how everything turns out. Number 5, Ocarina of Time. This game is more than memorable. This game has a special place at my heart and I can't get this game out of my top 5 favorite games of all time. Ocarina of Time is the very first Zelda game that I was playing, especially also the first game that I ever played. The game was great and the soundtrack was also great, but not as good as this original game, right? The soundtrack is really memorable and some of the songs that appears around in Ocarina of Time is surely also appearing in future Zelda games, so that's a pretty fun thing. The music is heavily inspired by orchestra, large brass bands and also these kind of trumpets and stuff like that. Also a lot of ocarina sounds is for sure appearing around the game, because the game is inspired by this little instrument that looks like a flute but it's more compact. Ocarina of Time surely has a great soundtrack and a really well fitting soundtrack for the game. Some of the songs is way too high in my opinion if you are playing around in the game. For example, every time you reach Hyrule Field at daytime, you will be blown back in your chair or wherever you play this game because the music is really loud. Take a listen. If we take a look away from the cons and just things about the soundtrack itself, I really think Ocarina of Time has a great soundtrack and surely one of the most memorable ones. My favorite song from Ocarina of Time is surely the spiritual temple theme, because this song is really well fitting for the game, and I just feel it's really well fitting when you run around in these halls of the spiritual temple. The temple here is really inspired by this Arab kind of theme. We got some moons hanging on the wall and kind of Egyptian stuff. It looks really great and it fits perfect with the music. Also, the spiritual temple is my favorite temple of all time in Ocarina of Time, so it's surely my favorite song. To the next one. Number 4, Majora's Mask. The soundtrack in Majora's Mask is surely something that I will remember always, because some of these songs that appears around the game is really well fitting. The soundtrack of Majora's Mask was a kind of more weird sounding than it got in Ocarina of Time, because in Majora's Mask it was some different sounds that were used. For example, in the Deku Palace it was some other kind of instruments that were used in these kind of soundtracks, and I think it fits perfect for the game. Majora's Mask was also kind of more weird and not traditional as Ocarina of Time, and also it was more scary than Ocarina of Time. So I really think the soundtrack here was really well fitting, and for sure I can't get this soundtrack out of my head because it fits perfectly for the game and it fits perfectly for the specific areas that you are visiting. My favorite song from Majora's Mask is for sure the Stone Tower Temple song, because this song is just weird, but it really catches your brain. You can't get it out of your head for some reason, and I have been listening to this song forever, man. Since I got the game first time, it was the song that just catched me, and I'm still playing this song sometimes because it's really nice and it's kind of weird sounding, but it's still nice and it's also kind of sounding really epical, so for sure that's my favorite song. Now to the next one. Number 3, The Wind Waker. I have never completed The Wind Waker like I have with all of the other Zelda games, so I can't talk about the specific game, but the whole soundtrack of The Wind Waker is fantastic. It's really heavily inspired by flutes and kind of more island sounding music, if I can call it that. Not Hawaii sounding music, but more with flutes, pan flutes and stuff like that. And also with some slightly light brasses actually, and some more trumpets, pretty much like Ocarina of Time, but with more flutes. The soundtrack of The Wind Waker is perfect, and I think it fits the game extremely well because you are visiting so many islands throughout the game, so it's really memorable in my mind. The Wind Waker is surely also a great game, and surely the story of The Wind Waker was great, but I think the music was way better, and they could easily have made the game, up till the point I have been completing in the game, way better if they was doing a bit more like Ocarina of Time, so it was more complex. But anyways, I don't want to complain, because this game is a fantastic masterpiece anyways, and even with the soundtrack, it does it way better. My favorite song from The Wind Waker is for sure the Dragon Roost Island theme, because this song it has some tempo over it, and it's pretty fast. It sounds really great. You can also hear it in the background of this part of the video here, because it's just well fitting. I can't get this song out of my head. It's really catchy and it just sounds perfect. And first time you visit this island, wow man, it really catches up with the whole feeling about, yeah, the Wind Waker, right? So surely one of my favorite songs from this game. To the next one. Number 2, Twilight Princess. Twilight Princess was surely a memorable piece of art. This game surely totally destroyed my mind and completed it once again, because the story of this game was fantastic. The soundtrack though was pretty different from other Zelda games. It was way more epic sounding, pretty much like Ocarina of Time, but with more notes in each song, if I can call it that. It's way more open and not so much as Ocarina of Time, so complex. So some of the songs, most of the songs is actually really open-minded and extremely epic, with brasses, and you can hear trumpets, and you can hear some pianos running in the background. It's really epic sounding, and I really love that. But sometimes when you visit Kakariko Village, for example, you will listen to this pan flute instead. So it's a really different kind of genre like the other Zelda games, and I really like that. Because you will never be tired of the soundtrack, because it doesn't sound like the same. I know the other soundtracks doesn't do that either, but still, you got so many kind of genres, and you have the Hidden Village song, which is way more western kind of inspired, and I really like that because it makes the soundtrack way more outstanding, and it will be memorized way more because it has so many kind of different songs. And it also got some different songs from Ocarina of Time. We got the Sacred Grove theme with the Lost Wood sample going on there, so it's really nice. And I just like these kind of references to older games. It's something that I really love because I'm a retro gamer. I love playing old games instead of these new ones, right? My favorite song from Twilight Princess, yeah, it's pretty hard to decide because I'm really feeling cozy when I listen to the whole soundtrack. It takes 4.5 hours, so I can't listen to the whole soundtrack, but you know what I mean when I listen to the different songs from this game. My favorite song has to be the Faron Woods theme because it's really amazing. It's really calm and you're just feeling great when you're listening to this track. It's perfect and you need to search it up on YouTube if you haven't heard it because it makes you so cozy. It just makes you warm inside and it's perfect. But make sure to search up the full soundtrack because all in all this soundtrack blows your mind with epicness and just many different genres that you will be listening to throughout this soundtrack. Make sure to do that. Now to number 1. Number 1, The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. This game is a masterpiece because of the soundtrack. The story of the game is pretty good, but it's not my favorite one. But I don't want to complain about the game because the soundtrack itself just does the job. You got a lot of different genres in this game too, just like in Twilight Princess, but still something is happening in me when I'm listening to this soundtrack. It fits perfectly for the game. We got some way more soft looking and some brighter textures in this game, so the whole look of the game is more childish, is more like we know the good old Zelda games than it was in Twilight Princess, for example. It was way more darker here, and just the look of Link, the look of the whole game itself, it's way more soft and childish looking, and I really like that. The soundtrack itself is also really epic, like it can be in Ocarina of Time, in Twilight Princess or something, but we still got so many genres that goes on. For example, in Skyloft, the start town of this game, you will be listening to this harmonica kind of sounding music, and I really love that because it sounds like a old small French town or something. It makes your heart really warm and it's really cozy to listening to, and I just like that, man, because we have never heard that before in Zelda games, at least of what I can remember, and it's just nice to hear some new kind of music appears in this game. It reminds me a bit of the Breath of the Wild soundtrack in some kind of way, but still it's really unique, and I guess no other Zelda game can beat this soundtrack because, yeah, we got so many kind of genres, right? We got Skyloft, we got the Faron Woods, which is different from Twilight Princess Faron Woods, but still it sounds pretty much like the same. We got some more happy sound over this theme that appears in Skyward Sword. It's just fantastic, and I love the soundtrack here. Make sure to search it up because it's really worth to take a listen. And if you want to be calm and just take it easy for a minute, make sure to listen to the Skyloft theme because it's really nice. And as you can guess, it's also my favorite song from this game because it's just nice and it's really cozy, and I can't get enough of it, really. So that was my top 5 greatest The Legend of Zelda soundtracks ever. If you don't agree, make sure to write it down in the comment section down below, and I'm more than curious to read all of you guys and girls' comments. I hope you enjoyed the time being here. If you want to be a subscriber, make sure to do that. Go down to the button, it's right there. Make sure to subscribe, make sure to like this video, throw a comment down below because I'm reading all of them, and I hope I see you guys and girls in the next video. See ya!